Welcome back, everyone, to OpenLine. Glad you're with us. We're talking about legal aid to low-income renters. There's a new program, the Eviction Right to Counsel program. It's expanding a program that currently exists. We have with us the executive director of the Legal Aid Society, DarKenya Waller. And this is in a partnership, I guess, with Counsel Americas, right?
That's correct.
And so tell us a little bit about them and why they're part of this.
Yeah. So as we were kind of pulling together the program, it's interesting how it started. I was working with our team at Legal Aid relative to the Right to Counsel program, which is a program that really gained steam during the pandemic because of the many evictions that were occurring illegally, and the statistic that while it's certainly the case in Davidson County, it's the case everywhere, that tenants are not represented in court. And we were, gathering information and trying to pull this together to see how we could do it. And Councilman Zulfat came along and said, I think we should fund this. I said, yes. She said, but we have to make sure that we're hitting all communities. And I said, yes. And so, we began looking for a partner to come along with us to ensure that we are really putting the expertise that we need in the Kurdish community, in the Hispanic community, in the Asian community, Arabic community. We want to make sure that we're available to everyone. And we said, what better partner to do that than Counsel Americas? And we approached them about it. They said, yes, we're in, and we've been working together ever since. And so our goal was really to put the expertise in those immigrant communities, because what we've learned is, and to be candid, just during this time, there's a lot of fear in coming to court. I mean, the average person is fearful going to court, let alone, immigrants in our communities. And so we knew that we were going to have to do more than just be attorneys in the courtroom. We were going to have to get into the communities and talk to people about their rights, share with them the information that we have so that they can advocate for themselves, or at least, at minimum, show up to court. Because the fact of the matter is, there's very little we can do if a suit is filed and you don't come. There's not a lot we can do. There's going to be a default judgment, and the eviction is going to have to happen. And where that becomes most detrimental is when you have multiple evictions on your record. And if we can avoid that, even if the eviction is to occur, if we can perhaps negotiate something that will prevent you from having that eviction on your record, you're better suited to possibly get another place to live, where the opposite is true. And so, as a part of this program, we really look forward to doing significant education in the communities, all communities, but immigrant communities as well. Education about what your rights are. What do you need to do when you first move into a place? What do you need to do when you're moving out of a place? What do you do when you receive a notice of eviction? Do you move immediately? Do you go to court? Just some of those basic things that we know are important, but may be received better from an entity like Counsel Americas. When that community is coming into your community, there's a trust factor, and that's what we want to happen and see happen.
What do you think? Is it, I guess, how often does it happen in immigrant communities? And is that part of a business plan on the part of some landlords? Is that, or are they just making mistakes? Like, how often are people in these communities being taken advantage of, and that's just the way it's been?
Yeah.
Versus maybe they just don't know, there's not a communication thing going on and people don't understand the rules. How much of it is they're just being taken advantage of, period? Yeah.
Well, I can't specifically speak to any numbers, and I don't have that specifically, but we've all seen in the news here in Davidson County the issues happening on Dickerson Pike, the issues happening with Mosaic Apartments, where whole communities, were being evicted from their homes at once. And honestly, many of those persons probably would not set foot in court if that's what it took to remain in their home. I don't know the reasons, I'm not making judgments on that, but they just wouldn't. They wouldn't go to court. But what they might do is listen to the advice of someone from their community who they trust. What they might do is talk to each other about how they can protect their rights. What they might do is, write a letter, enforce their rights otherwise, if they knew how. And so we absolutely want to empower them with the information so that they can do what that next step is that's best for them. And so, again, I can't speak to the numbers, but I know that we've seen it here on this news station.
Yeah, you have.
That these things do occur.
Wow. All right, let's go to Cheryl. Cheryl, are you there?
Yes.
Go right ahead.
How are you, sir?
Doing great. What's on your mind?
I was trying to find out if they do family law, if they could help me with a custody case to get my grandbabies back. My son was murdered 3 years ago and nothing was done about it. And the children were taken the day that they pronounced him dead. And we had been in a court battle, paid over $19,000. My daughter doesn't have a dime, and I don't have any grandparents' rights. Is there any way that this agency could help me? I live in Lebanon.
In Lebanon.
Sure.
All right.
Sure.
Thank you, Cheryl. Okay, what about this?
Well, Lebanon is actually in our service area. However, our resources are limited relative to the family law cases that we can accept and that we do accept. Yes, we do family law, but I will tell you it's primarily relegated to adoptions and domestic violence victims who are seeking to escape their current situation. That is a void in a lot of our legal system, is that representation, free civil legal representation for those persons who are seeking custody beyond a divorce. And it's an unfortunate void because it is a significant need in terms of resources. It does take significant resources, as you've just articulated, for custody, battles. Oftentimes, what really drives the representation are where the children are what's called dependent neglect. They have been neglected as children or as dependents or otherwise being harmed. And that's where the state does step in and offer legal representation for those children who are being abused or neglected in their home situation. And that's when free legal representation attaches through the state, not necessarily through legal aid as a nonprofit. And so we don't necessarily do those types of cases, but we absolutely refer those people where children are being impacted to the Department of Human Services for legal representation there.
All right, that's a tough area.
It is.
It's a very tough area. All right, Cheryl, thank you for your call. All right, we'll take a break. We'll come back, continue our discussion right after this.